Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast. I'm Nick. We have Harrison and Sean with us tonight. How we doing, fellers?
What's going on, boys?
Awesome. How we doing?
Doing pretty well. I know we're up against the Bruins and the Canes here, but you know what? Like it's baseball season. So we will get into some stuff. We had some things happen yesterday. Had some things happen today that we're going to get into. But first, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can also follow us on Instagram. You can also subscribe on YouTube, and you can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. All right. So today, leading off, the first game of the day, we get an Aaron Boone ejection on the first batter of the game. So what happens is Ruiz gets 2 strikes, and Rodon throws a nasty slider, back foot slider, hits Ruiz. Ruiz kind of like check swings through it. And Boone like immediately asks for an appeal. You know, the home plate umpire, Hunter Wendelstedt, calls the dead ball, then does the appeal. And Boone was a little heated about it as he does. But Hunter Wendelstedt then goes, "You're not yelling at me. I did what I was supposed to do and checked. I'm looking for him to get hit by the pitch. You got anything else to say? You're gone." So Boone just gives him a thumbs up and sits back in the dugout, doesn't say anything else. From what I heard, and there was, 3 people in the stands because it's a Monday day game, it's quiet, and the hot mic can pick up everything. And I didn't hear a single thing out of the Yankees dugout. Okay.
No, the camera was on Boone. Boone didn't say a word. He's looking out of the field.
And I'm not there, so I don't know if anything came out of the dugout. However, there is another shout from behind Boone, clearly from the stands. And I don't know what the fans said, but Wendelstedt just goes, "Aaron, you're done. I don't care who said it. You're gone." And just ejects him. And that's it. First batter of the game, Boone's gone. We've said it before. We'll say it again. Is this an umpire problem?
Oh, of course it is.
Yes.
Of course it is. And I'll tell you, we were joking around in like the group chat, like when there's like Boone gets ejected because of a fan. I was like, it's not me. Like I wish it was me, but it wasn't me. I had nothing to do with Boone getting ejected. But like, I'm on Boone's side here.
Yeah.
He did nothing. In the yes camera, literally like had it on Boone the whole time. He wasn't even glaring at Hunter. He wasn't like he
literally
gave
just
a thumbs up. And then he was like checking his watch. He was eating sunflower seeds. Like he wasn't even doing anything remotely antagonizing.
Field somewhere.
And then the fan yelled whatever the fan yelled. I don't know. And then when Boone came out and argued, and this is where like I do take Boone's side 100% on this. When he came out to argue, he was trying to say like, I didn't say anything. I swear it wasn't me. Even his bench coach was like, it was the guy up there pointed right to the guy that said it. And that's when Hunter was just like, I don't care who said it. You're gone. And then Boone got upset, rightfully so. And he was like, but that's why you're throwing me out.
Right.
If you know I didn't say it, then why are you throwing me out? Which is bullshit.
Yeah.
Now, is his reputation to blame here? Like, I know he says he has a good relationship with umpires and that they're not biased. He said all the right things in the press conference after.
He did.
But, I mean, we've talked about it before. We've been ejected. This makes 41 times since his managerial debut in
Roughly,
18?
right around the 40 number. Yeah.
He gets thrown out a lot.
I mean, we're starting to get up to Bobby Cox numbers here. And like, is his reputation to blame?
Well, maybe, but this is where like umpires need to take a little bit of like ownership here. And if let's say the first base umpire or, if Boone legitimately comes out and I didn't say anything, and if Wendelstedt can't prove that he said something, like you got to be able to just be like, okay, I'm going to eat this one a little bit. Like you can't just be throwing guys out willy-nilly just because you think they said something that you don't like.
Well, and the
it's
other
kind
part
of crazy.
Well, the other part of it too is that Boone's asking about the check swing, and Boone wasn't being like crazy animated. He was just like yelling to get his attention, like, and Wendelstedt just goes like nuclear immediately on him. It's almost like there's a history between the two of them that had led him to be so short fused with Boone.
Yeah.
Because the minute Boone asked about the check swing, like he bit his head off and warned him. We're 5 pitches into the game, and you're
even
already
Boone said that there's not
him.
though. even Boone was like, yeah, they asked him, like, is there a history between you and Wendelstedt? And he was like, no, I don't think so.
Maybe not on Boone's side. Maybe Wendelstedt's carrying
Right.
I don't know, but I mean, literally 5 pitches in the game. He has one question. He gets his head bitten off, and then gets ejected for what a fan says. It was almost like Wendelstedt went out there just looking for a fight. It didn't matter who it came from. Maybe he was hoping Boone would fight him. I don't know. Maybe it was more to that story. But for an umpire to respond like that to what appeared to be just nothing more than a question from Aaron Boone, which is, did you check it? It's like that's a bit of an aggressive response to a request. Why, as an umpire, can't you say, yeah, I did, we're good, and move on, rather than bite the guy's head off and warn him and then toss him for something from the stands? The whole thing, and then, like you said, Sean, when I heard the hot mic pick up, I don't care who it was, you're gone. Okay, this was never about what was said. You just wanted to throw him out. This is all you're aiming for.
Right.
Accomplished. Right. Good job, Hunter.
It was. It was bull. It totally was. It totally horrible. Was. And I'm not going to sit here and cry tears over Aaron Boone, but it was wrong. Like, what happened to him today was wrong.
Yeah, he got totally hosed. He got railroaded by an umpire.
For me, I think it's the, like you guys said, it's the quick trigger, right? Let Boone come out, make his point, and then if he says, right, but then if he says something to you, then you have every right to toss him, right? The fact that you tossed him from the dugout like that when you don't know where exactly it came from is baloney.
Yeah, I don't care who said it. You're gone anyways. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah, bananas. And once you throw somebody out, I don't think in my baseball watching career I've ever seen an umpire be like, "Oh, you know what? Never
rescind
mind."
it. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
rescind it. Yeah.
So, yeah. So once he's tossed, he's tossed. That's it. I mean, unless you're, Bobby Valentine and you come back with the Groucho Marx glasses on. But, the umpires need to settle down. I know they're under a ton of scrutiny, and rightfully so, because these calls early this year are the most egregious I have seen in a long, long time, if not ever. I mean, these balls and strikes calls are awful. I don't know if this game is moving too fast for them or what, but it's getting really bad. And I don't know. It's awful.
Well, but I feel like to that point, Nick, I feel like today was kind of a microcosm of all that. These umpires are under a lot of fire right now. They're taking a lot of heat because they haven't been great, which has been a trend we've been seeing for a while. But it's almost like these umpires they're feeling this pressure. They're feeling this scrutiny, and it's almost like they're lashing out at players and managers for putting them under this microscope. It's their performance that sucks. It's not anybody trying to make it look bad. Like the report cards that come out every night and make it look bad. But it's almost like these guys are just feeling like everybody's out to get them, so they're just doing whatever they can to make a point. Angel Hernandez, night after night, blows calls, doesn't care, just wants to fight you. Wendelstedt throws Boone out and even said, "I don't care." Like, I just think I think the general consensus with a lot of these umpires is they just don't care. They're out there, they're doing their thing, they're existing, and they're feeling the pressure.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. Like in the press conference afterwards, Boone kind of ended it saying that because one of the questions that came from the media was, "Are you going to bring this? Is this something you bring up with Major League Baseball?" And he said, "Yeah." And then it looked like he was going to expand on it, and then he stopped. He was just like, "Yeah, yeah." So they're gonna. I mean, I can't imagine Boone gets fined. Like, I can't imagine anything else. So who knows what's going to come of it? I don't know. But I'd be interested to see if baseball releases like anything publicly about this that we can kind of check in on in the next few days.
Well, so it begs the question too, like, how many complaints are coming to the league office for umpires every night? Like, is that part of it? Is Aaron Boone complaining like every night to the office and he's got a target on him? Are there certain players that are more vocal about how, with the league office about their displeasure, and, do the umpires see that? Like, Wendelstedt went out there, it almost looked like on a mission. There's something that causes that. Like, there's something that puts you on that edge. What was it?
Yeah. So Wendelstedt did double down and came out with a quote after the game that said, "I heard something come from the far end of the dugout. Had nothing to do with his area, but he's the manager of the Yankees, so he's the one that had to go." Was his exact quote.
What?
Yeah.
Then why do we see bench coaches and players in third base coaches? Why do we see them get tossed at times? Why isn't it just always fall on the manager? What kind of logic is that?
He just didn't know where it came from, so he tossed out the manager, supposedly.
Oh,
That's
God.
horrible.
I mean, sure, you're the guy responsible for it, what goes on in that dugout, but I don't think that makes it better. It's just like I clearly had no idea who said it, so I'm just gonna throw him out. And I'm just
That's
defending it
so
with
bad.
another idea.
That's
like,
so bad. That's
it's-
almost
yeah.
worse.
Yeah, it's not better. It's certainly not better. It's bordering on worse. It's just
He honestly would have been better off coming out in after the game being like, I heard Aaron Boone saying it. And then the media would be
Right.
like, yeah, but we saw on the camera that he didn't. And then Hunter would be like, well, that's what I heard.
Yeah,
Like
I
you
couldn't
would
see him.
sound better doing that than
Yeah.
just being like, well, it didn't even come from his area, but it came from the bench, so he's in charge. So he's going like, what?
So that's my point too, is like you have cameras and mics on all of these guys now. It
That's
takes
horrible.
15 to 20 seconds to call to New York and be like, hey,
It's so
did
bad.
Boone say anything? No? Okay. Like he's still in the game. Like it just absolutely brutal.
But to basically say like I heard something, so he goes. It's not better.
It's not better. It's not
It's not better.
It's
You're just proving what we already knew. He didn't say anything, but you were pissed and wanted somebody to go, so you threw him out. Like you came out looking for a fight today, Hunter, and you got one. And
like,
you look like a fool now.
Boone's reaction was ridiculous. It was like funny because he was just like thumbs up, and he's just sitting there like not. He's like, all right, like game on. And then he's like, Aaron, you're gone. And it like took a second to like register.
Yeah.
And he's just
He was like, what?
wait, what? Like, just absolutely insane, man. I don't know how it is. And it sucks because that was actually a pretty good ball game. And, like to just take the manager out off the, like you said, the fifth pitch, it's just stupid. There's no need for these umpires to have these power trips. Like, you're at the highest level of baseball. There are many people in America that would love to be there in your spot and enjoy every second of it and do the best they can without, causing this much controversy. I just feel like the power trip, they have too much power. The umpires have too much power in this game right now, and it needs to get dialed back. The umpires union right now is protecting these guys, as a union's supposed to do.
Yep.
But it's giving these guys way too much power to just go out and do whatever the hell they want, whenever the hell they want.
But it begs the question, what is the umpire union's purpose in life? To protect the umpires' jobs or to protect the integrity of their position? Because right now it looks like they're just covering asses and trying to protect jobs, because what they're rolling out there for umpires, the quality is poor. And put all the theories aside. This is the state of umpiring in MLB in 2024. Every freaking night, there is some kind of a problem. A bad call, a missed call, a quick ejection. I mean, every night we're talking about umpires. A good umpire, you shouldn't even know their name. They should just blend into the game. We know these guys too well because they're in the friggin' spotlight every night. CB Buckner, Hunter Wendelstedt, Angel Hernandez. These guys shouldn't be household names. You shouldn't know who they are.
I mean, I will say, and I don't want to say I feel bad because that's the bad way to say it, but 10, 15 years ago, I don't know that the bad calls are that much more than they were. I mean, they're probably more, but I don't know how much more. I think what hurts the umpires now is every broadcast, whether it's a national broadcast or regional broadcast, they all have those K zones. So if something misses by like this much and they call it ball 3 instead of strike 3, like fans are up in arms tweeting about how bad these umpires are. That's one. The ejections are bad. Like, you didn't really see ejections on this level. Like, I don't really have a defense for the ejections, but I think umpires are probably feeling the pressure from everywhere. They're feeling it from the players that they're on the field with. They feel it from the managers that are barking from the dugout. They're seeing it on social media. They're hearing their names.
The calls for the robo umpires, the calls for the ABS
exactly.
system.
And we see, well, look how well it's working in the minors, this ability to challenge a ball in a strike. And these guys are like, fuck, that's my job. Like, that's not, so I think I get it on that level. They just got to be better.
Yeah.
Like, you just got to be better. If we're starting to come up with other options that are going to take your job away, then you have to be better.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
One of my favorite baseball games I ever went to, I went to a Fort Myers Miracle game, little single A team. And there's a guy in front of me. We were sitting box seats, guy in front of me with a clipboard. And I just leaned over and asked him real, quietly. I was like, hey, sir, like, if you don't mind, can I ask like who you're scouting? And he goes, yeah, I'm scouting the umpire. And I go, huh, interesting. Yeah. Like I had never thought about that, right? So what he was doing, and he was like walking me through it. He's like, I'm not scouting whether he's calling a ball or a strike. I'm scouting consistency is all that we worry about as umpire scouts here. Yep. Are there other things? Sure. He's like, yeah, of course. He's like, but if he's given that pitcher 2 inches off the plate and he calls it a strike, if that ball ends up in that same place next time and he calls it a ball, that's a tick against him. Like I have no issues with that. If there's an umpire that has a strike zone that's a little wide, a little tall, a little low, as long as he's there all game, I don't care. Right. It's these pitches that, are an inch below the strike zone on one pitch and then, 2 inches below the strike zone the next pitch.
Or 6 inches off the plate.
Right. And the one closer to the strike zone is a ball, but the one 2 inches below that was a strike. Like then I start having an issue. When you're missing balls and strikes by 7 inches, or first pitch of the ball game is right down the middle for ball one. I mean, like that one was so bad the other night, but the announcer just crushed it. I mean, like
it was perfect.
Like the first pitch of the ball game is right down the middle for ball one. Like I mean,
those Royals announcers are worth the tune in. And it's a good team.
They are. They're awesome.
But those Royals announcers are worth their broadcast.
They're awesome.
That color guy, I don't know who that guy is. He is hysterical. Anytime there's a strike three looking, he goes, "What are you looking at?" "I don't know, but you got to go." Like every strike three call. The guy cracks me up every time. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of the Royals lately just because I'm pulling for them and they're exciting, but those guys are great. I love back in the days of Don and Jerry. Like it's lighthearted, it flows easily, they have a good time. But we've been very consistent, the three of us on this podcast. We do not expect an umpire to be 100% accurate. It's not possible. We just want them to call a consistently fair game and actually like help move the game along. Don't become a distraction and take the spotlight of the game and put it on you.
Right. Just well, I mean, you saw it. You saw it had maybe 2 weeks ago when Reese McGuire got rung up and got tossed.
Oh yeah.
You could hear the hot mic. I think it was at Fenway. I don't remember which game. I'll have to look it up. But when he got tossed, and he clearly slammed the helmet down. It was strike three, end of the inning, and he slammed the helmet down. You could hear him clear as day. We weren't getting that call.
Yep.
Right, and that goes to the consistency.
And he's a catcher.
Behind the plate. Right, he's behind the plate. He knows. He spent 9 innings back there. Like we're not getting that call. You can't call that a strike. I was back here all game. I know your zone. That's not a strike, and now you're calling it strike three. Hitting is hard enough, man. If you don't know what's a strike and what's not a strike, how can you possibly be expected to go up there and compete? It's hard.
It's not a good place to hitter to be up there guessing what a ball and a strike is.
Right.
Every umpire. Yeah.
Right.
I caught a lot growing up, and like an umpire never ever wants to ring up a catcher on a third strike, a borderline strike three, right? Because like you're gonna see that guy in about 30 seconds come back out and be like, dude, like what? But I don't know. I don't know how you go about fixing this. Like I said, umpires have a lot of problems. They're making a lot of noise. I get the pressure of everything now, but something needs to change here. And I don't know at what point MLB steps in and be like, yo, like we have to fix this immediately.
Right.
But how they go about it, I don't know.
You've got to want to fix the issue. And I think Major League Baseball is like walking on eggshells, and the umpires union has no interest in fixing it because it wants to just protect these guys and make sure that they remain employed.
Yeah. So whatever. So that one was crazy, but we'll go to tomorrow, and yesterday. Sorry, I'm already jumping ahead of day. So we'll go to yesterday. A little bit of a controversial thing. I might be in the minority here, but Jacob Rawlings for the Colorado Rockies with 2 outs at the bottom of the ninth in a 0-0 ball game against the Seattle Mariners takes a high inside pitch and drives it deep to left field at Coors Field. And Dylan Moore goes back, jumps up to make a play. His glove makes contact with a fan's arm. The fan has the ball, and he's about 1.5 to 2 feet above the yellow line when he makes contact. Now, from our camera angle, you can't tell if he's reaching back, if he's level with the yellow line, the top of the wall, or not. But what happens is they have a non-home run call, so there's no home run.
So they played a live ball.
They play
the live
it's a live play, because probably initially it looked like it bounced off the top of the wall. The way it came back in,
it looked to me when I saw it live for the first time, it looked like it was in and out of Dylan Moore's glove.
I thought so too.
Like, that's what I thought. Okay. Like, I thought it went in his glove and then came back out, which obviously would be a live ball.
Right. So either way, it's a live ball. They play it out. Stallings is on second base, and then it's an official review, right? Because they can officially review all home run calls, so it doesn't have to come from the dugout. They come back and they call Jacob Stallings out on fan interference. Now, I have a couple of things here, but first of all, I don't personally think it's fan interference. The ball was 2 feet above the yellow line. Could have been Dylan Moore made a play on it? Possibly. We'll never know. But I think it's a clear-cut home run to me.
You know, I think the hard part with seeing it live, like hearing the description is one thing, and then when I saw it, I think what's hard is there are 1 or 2 angles, particularly when they slow it down in slow-mo, where it looks like the guy potentially probably maybe did kind of cross that threshold from over the yellow line into the field of play. I think what's hard is I don't think there was conclusive evidence either way. But the way that the way I understand the rule for fan interference is once you call the review for fan interference, it's either a home run or it's an out.
Yep.
Like they can't come back and be like, well, we didn't have enough, so we're going to leave him at second base.
Right.
So they had to make a decision on that. And I think they ruled that it was more likely than not, you know, the deflate gate. It was more likely than not that he was leaning over and he interfered. I don't love it. I don't love the call, but I understand why they made it.
So then here's my backup to that. With the ability to measure launch angle, exit velocity, and all of that, they can get down to the inch of how far a ball can travel. So New York should take that information and be like, if this ball was going to leave the ballpark, then it's a home run.
But doesn't it become a gray area though when you look at the replay and the fielder's glove interacted? I don't want to use the word interfered, but when the fielder's glove interacted with the fan, like if you were to like pause it and then remove the fan completely out and then resume the play, like did the fielder have an opportunity, regardless of how far the ball was going to go, did he have an opportunity to catch it?
Yes.
If the answer for that is yes, then I think you got to call interference.
So if you watch the replay, and I've got it paused right now, right at the point of contact, the outfielder's glove is underneath that ball. He is going to catch it, unless that ball is like 4 or 5 feet further back than it looks. But if you look at it, when he goes up, he actually makes contact with the guy trying to catch it as the ball falls out of his glove. I mean, it's the player has to be able to make a play. Whether it's going to be a home run or not is irrelevant. If the player has a play on the ball, although it's going to leave the field of play, until it actually leaves the field of play, it's his ball. So when you look, he's going up. The fan makes contact with the ball right above his glove. So the belief is when you look at the angle of the replay, he's at a minimum, he's going to make contact with that ball. He's likely going to catch it, but he's at least going to make contact with it. So it's still his ball. But
is Dylan Moore's glove over the fence?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter. It does matter.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter. It matters where the fan is.
If I'm 2 rows back and Dylan Moore can reach over the fence 2 rows back and try to make a play on the ball, but the fan catches it, that's fan interference?
Right. But he wasn't what they're ruling is that he was over that yellow line.
Yeah, he's allowed to make a play on the ball.
If he climbs, like if he does that ridiculous thing that we saw like Griffey do when he like puts the cleat in the wall and like climbs it like a whatever, right? If he reaches over 2 rows back and hits me as a fan, that's not fan interference.
No, that's not fan interference in that case.
Right.
No.
If I'm in the front row and I'm like here on the yellow line and my face is here and he comes and hits my face, that's fan interference. I'm leaning into the field of play.
Right. So my question is, if Dylan Moore's glove passes the threshold and makes contact with the fan, is that fan interference?
If he's reaching back over the wall, then no, it's not fan
I think it
interference if he's
depends
back
on
over the
right.
wall.
I think it depends on where the fan is. I think the
Right.
reason why they ruled it that way is they ruled that the fan was either over the yellow line or in front of that yellow line.
Right. Until the ball actually leaves the field of play, it's actually cleared the wall. It's the fielder's ball. And if you look at the replay, the outfielder's going straight up. His glove does not appear to have crossed the wall yet when he's making contact. So it's one of those, like, they're right at the point of intersection of the field of play and the seats, and they've got to decide, would he have made the play or not?
See, the reason I feel like the fan wasn't interfering is if you look at the way the fan's falling, he's falling to the right. And if you're falling to the right, you're not reaching over the fence. Like, if you play that video out, he actually falls to the right-hand side. That's just from my view.
Yeah,
but
I hear you.
Right. I think another thing they need to do is put cameras on the tops of these walls here. Like, and like, I know it's curved and it's probably sort of impossible, but you could put a camera right down the line there to see if the fan's reaching over or not.
They
like,
could.
it's just
Do you know what else they need to do before they even do that? Honestly, they need to add a little caveat into the rule. Simply saying, hold on 1 second. Yeah, no goal. Good save. What they need to do is add a little caveat into that rule and say, if we can't determine, then the call on the field stands. In other words, we couldn't tell, so he's staying at second base. I understand that it's not a ground rule double and this and that, but we let it play out. Right? The fielder had an opportunity to field the ball, throw him in. If he decided to go to third, he could have got thrown out. It was a complete live ball. We're not sure one way or the other. So we're going to put him at second base, and that's the decision.
Yeah.
Because if that was allowed and that's what happened, I don't really think we would be spending all this time on it. I think they'd be like, that was a close play. It was inconclusive one way or the other. And I think they made the right call. So I think the fact that they were forced into a decision, and I don't even know if they were 100% convinced, but they were forced into making a decision.
What's crazy?
That's the tough part.
What's crazy about this is if they would have called it a home run, I'd probably still be talking about it. Like, I would probably go in the other way. Oh, it was fan interference. Like, it was so close that it is hard. Like,
so a great example to this one, Nick, is you go back to the Astros and Red Sox in the ALCS in Houston. Mookie Betts goes up into the seats. The ball is going to hit the guys in the first row in the chest. It's probably a good 4 feet over the wall. Mookie Betts leaps. He would have made the catch. The fans who are just trying to catch the ball, it's about to hit them, have their hands out, hit his glove. They take Altuve's home run away, call it fan interference. Clearly a home run, but because Mookie Betts was going up and was in the process of trying to make the catch, although it's in the fan's lap, it's still fan interference because he has the right to make a play on that ball.
Then that's where seats back. Move the seats back.
Well, but that's where fan interference gets muddy. It's like you go to a place like Houston where the fans are sitting on the wall. They can't even put their hands out to protect themselves, and it's fan interference. This guy in Colorado was in a walkway. There's not even seats there.
Oh, he was reaching for the ball. Let's make no mistake.
Oh, no, he was 100% reaching for the ball.
1,000%.
100%. And these guys in Houston, their hands don't even cross the wall, and it's fan interference because they're just trying to catch the ball. It's about to land in their lap. So, and I put the video in the chat if people want to go look at it, but fan interference is hard because the player is allowed to make a play on the ball. Until it leaves the field of play, it's their ball. The problem is, in some cases, the fans are so close to that line of the field of play, you can't tell where the hell it starts and ends.
Yeah.
And that one, it is a very tough judgment call. But I agree with Sean. If you can't decide, it's either fan interference or it's what it was. You can't like create another option where something else completely happens.
Yeah. And it's
a hard one. I get it, but it's never black and white.
I totally understand the rule. But if the ball's live and it's a non-home run call, like I would say just put him at second base, like where the play stood. But to call him out also is kind of like you can't assume he's going to make that play.
Right. You're assuming he's going to make a great catch.
Yeah. It's not like it's a routine play where he's camped underneath it and the fan's like, oh, thank you very much. Like,
he's jumping up against the wall to make that catch.
Yeah. So
it's not a slam dunk. He's going to make that catch.
Yeah. I don't know. It was interesting.
But fan interference is a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. And I wish there were an easier way to actually determine it. But
yeah,
these guys, in the playoffs, it's one thing. At least you got umpires down the line to get a better view. But in the regular season, trying to look out to right field and judge that from a couple 100 feet away, that's not an easy task.
Yeah, no, I get it. All right, we're gonna move to. It was probably my
Morgan. I like that. Every field should have that basket that Wrigley has and take that issue right away. If it falls in that thing, it's gone.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, honestly. But
And Craig's right. We used to see a decent amount of fan interference at Fenway down the line. We haven't seen a lot of it lately, but I remember many years guys reaching around the pole or reaching out to grab it.
well, that's because at Fenway they take you out back and shoot you now. So
Well, yeah, there's like zero tolerance at Fenway.
Lifetime ban.
I mean, in all honesty, though, with Fenway, though, like most of the balls that we see that go down that right field line are either hit so hard that they get out before the right fielder has a chance to get down there, or they're hit so high and so far that interference doesn't really matter because the wall is so low.
302.
Like it doesn't really, like where you see it happen more often than not at Fenway, especially down right field, is on like ground rule doubles, where it's like these idiots are like leaning like it's about to go into the corner and these morons like reaching over to touching it. You know what I mean? Like you don't really see it on fly balls as much just because it's such a long run from like a traditional right field position to get to that.
It's a good haul.
Like that's a haul.
Yeah. It's, unless you're shading that way, there's no shot you're getting to the corner.
That's hard. Yeah.
All right. We're going to move on to the favorite pitching match that I wanted to watch last week was on Friday, was Blake Snell against Jordan Montgomery. So Jordan Montgomery had his debut with the Diamondbacks, and Blake Snell has been off to a little bit of a rocky start. He has pitched 11 and 2/3 innings with an 11.5 ERA. Yeah. So his first couple starts haven't been that good, which you kind of expect, right? Kind of an abbreviated spring training, kind of thrown right in there.
Most guys went to spring training and actually got some innings under their belt.
Yeah. And he actually looked sharp the first few innings and then kind of fell apart in the fifth, typical Blake Snell outing there. But Jordan Montgomery, man, this guy actually talked after the post game and he goes, you know what, that extra month of me going through my program actually helps me out a lot. And which is interesting to hear because, with these players signing later and later in spring training, you wonder if this is a trend we might see. But Jordan Montgomery went 6 innings and looked absolutely dominant. This is great news for that Arizona Diamondbacks pitching staff that's only getting deeper. And then if Eddie Rodriguez comes back and gives them anything, that rotation could easily be one of the best in baseball, if it isn't already.
They're good.
And they shellacked the Giants 17-1 in that game. So
the Diamondbacks need to get some luck too. They've had some seriously tough luck so far.
Yeah. But Blaze Alexander, if you guys have not seen this kid play yet, he is NL Rookie of the Year candidate for them. He's playing shortstop for them right now with Perdomo out. This kid went off that game. He had a grand slam double. Like, he is a really good baseball player. He hit his way onto the team in spring training, hit like 400. And Lavula was like, I can't send this kid back to the minors. I just can't. And he's been tearing it up. So, but
the Arizona Diamondbacks, Nick, have scored the most runs in baseball. They've got a plus 28 run differential. Their expected win-loss is 14-9, which put them at first in the West. They're 11-12.
Yeah, it's been tough.
They've lost some tough ones.
Yeah, the Braves.
Ooh, that might be a high stick.
The Braves series was a little tough for them, but it will all even out in the wash. I think the Diamondbacks are fine.
No goal. Sorry, boys. That's a no goal.
Diamondbacks will be fine.
Diamondbacks will be fine. Over the course of a season, man, like the luck is the water finds its level, right? I mean, we say it. I say it all the time. And this is a team that's too good. Offensively, the amount of runs that they've scored, they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. And I think what's helping them right now is nobody, Dodgers included, is running away with that division.
Right.
So they are like, if you as a Diamondbacks fan, we're looking at this going, okay, we're towards the end of April. We are under 500, but we're within a handful of games.
Yeah, we're a game and a half back.
Yeah, we haven't played really consistent, like team-focused baseball. Like you got to be looking at that, being like, all right, season hasn't even started yet. Like we'll be fine. Because I thought the Dodgers were going to run away with this division from the start, and they really haven't. So that's got to be a good thing if you're a Diamondbacks fan.
If you want to watch the Diamondbacks score, just turn on the first inning, and then you can go to bed because they put up serious runs in the first inning.
They do.
It is crazy. Ketel Marte is on a bender. He had like 3-4 hit games last week. This dude is he's a blast to watch. He's one of my favorite players right now. He is incredible. But I mean, that lineup is no joke either. So they're going to be continuing to, fun to watch for me. They're must-see TV for me every night. But another surprising start out of our Boston Red Sox. Kutter Crawford right now, through 5 starts, has a .66 ERA. And don't look now, but the Red Sox are leading the league in team ERA. And we were sitting here in March being like, what the hell is this team going to do with starting pitching?
Well, we were, but we can play the tape back. I'm pretty sure Sean said, I like this Andrew Bailey guy, and I think Andrew Bailey is going to do some good things with the staff. Now it's early. We're on April 22nd here. But this looks night and day. It looks like we have an actual pitching coach. Like someone that can actually help prepare these guys for how they're going to attack lineups, not just one time through, but the second or third time through the order. I mean, that was the biggest issue I had with the Red Sox the past 2 years. It's like guys like Houck, guys like Bayo would look awesome through the first 9, and then they couldn't get the second time of the lineup through. And it's like, well, that's a problem with our planning.
Right.
And I think they have a legitimate pitching coach now that is helping these guys prepare. I think, and he's been harping on it all since spring training, the best pitch in baseball, strike one, right? We got to get ahead of these guys. We have to be able to, utilize the stuff that we have by putting these guys in uncomfortable at-bats, uncomfortable counts. And the Sox pitchers, particularly the starters, I think have been doing an unreal job of getting strike one and just staying ahead in counts. And it's showing. Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, Tanner Houck throws a 3-hitter against the Guardians. It was the fastest game, an hour and 49 minutes. Yeah,
I would have been pissed if I was at that game.
Right.
Right.
Hour and 49 minutes. It's the fastest game since Galarraga's perfect game in Detroit, or near perfect game. Yeah. It's crazy. Like you said, it is early, but I haven't seen the Red Sox pitch like this in quite some time. Like you said, their whole approach, the off-speed pitches, we've thrown a lot more off-speed, at the beginning of this year than I remember seeing in the last few years, for sure.
Yeah, well, strike one doesn't mean it has to be a fastball.
Right.
And it's that's kind of this new kind of injection that the staff seems to be getting, is it's very much okay to be mixing up pitches, but it's got to be a strike.
Right. Yeah.
We got to make sure we're throwing it for strikes. And they are. They're doing a great job. And I feel bad for the guys. I mean, they battle and they grind. I mean, talk about unlucky. You said the Diamondbacks have been unlucky. My goodness gracious, with the injuries in the Red Sox.
Look at that lineup. That lineup they rolled out against the Pirates with Pablo Reyes playing first, and poor Rafael has played every position but pitcher, and it's they just can't keep anybody on the field. Cassis goes down on the IL with a rib contusion, fracture.
We thought the Red Sox would hit and not pitch. Turns out they can pitch, but they can't hit. And then last year the bullpen was good and the starters were bad. This year the starters are good, the bullpen's bad. I mean, they're 8 for 14 in save opportunities. I mean, that's not good. That's just not good.
Not great.
The problem is the Red Sox, they finally fixed one problem and then they have 2 more get created along the way, and here they are 13-10, and boy, have the Pittsburgh Pirates come back to reality. But I mean, will the Red Sox pitching do this all year? Probably not. But holy cow, it's a good start. Yep, now, if they could just get some runs and hold the lead.
Well, I mean, to sit there and say that the Red Sox can pitch and they can't hit. I mean, they've scored more runs than the Yankees this year. Red Sox now have 103 runs scored, and the Yankees have 100.
Yep.
So, I mean, we're getting guys on. They're hitting.
They just come in bunches.
It's coming in, which, it's going to happen. Yeah. But they can hit. With all the injuries and all, O'Neill missing time and Raffy missing some games here and there. And this, hopefully he's coming back. What are they saying? This week, I think Cora had said, right? So, I mean, that hopefully is not too long. I mean, they're still putting guys on. They're still putting guys across the plate. It's the bullpen. It's the bullpen. I mean, this team's right up there with Baltimore to challenge for the division right now if they don't have so many blown saves.
Yep.
They're taking leads into the late innings.
Oh yeah, they are.
A couple things more before we get into some trivia here. The Mets dropped their City Connects, and I think they are my new favorite City
Yeah,
Connects.
they're fun.
Granted, it's not a high bar with the City Connect uniforms.
I'm done
But-
with City Connect uniforms. I'm done with them.
I
I'm out.
love these. I think they look like the old Homestead Grays uniforms from the Negro Leagues. And then all of the bridge on the hat is sick. The little bit of purple to symbolize the subway line. Yeah, like it's just I think they're awesome. I think they're the best ones yet. But like all City Connects, you either love them or you hate them. And these ones I think are absolutely fire. But
yeah, I mean, if we're going to talk about the Mets, though, I mean, let's give the on-field product a little bit of love here. I mean, horrible start. Since that 9-loss start or whatever it was, 1-9 in their first 10 or something like that.
Yep.
They're 12-4 in their last 16.
yeah,
8 of their last 10.
8 of their last 10, 12-4 in their last 16. It's tied with the Phillies for the best record in baseball in that amount of time.
Yep.
And this is a team you look at, it's just like they just play pretty good, solid baseball.
Mm-hmm.
They just play pretty solid baseball. They get some kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of complementary hitting up and down the lineup. They hit pretty well with guys on base. There's really no easy innings against them. I'm not going to say they haven't had 1, 2, 3 innings, but they kind of grind. You got to grind out every inning against them, and it's a team that you think and you look and you go, Monty would have looked pretty good there. You add 1 or 2 starters on that team, and it turns into a kind of a dangerous team. They're not going to win the division. But with a team that plays baseball like this, though, they're going to be tough teams to play series against, weekend in and weekend out. I think they're going to surprise some people because they're just solid.
Yeah. Well, Alvarez went down with a thumb, though. That kind of hurts a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
And what's impressive too with the Mets is that they've played every single game against a team over 500. Yeah. So like you look at the Phillies above them, the Phillies have played 10 games of their, what are we at, 22 against teams over 500. I know it's early, so over 500 doesn't mean as much, but at least in terms of like who you've played teams that are also playing well, and you've played nothing but teams that are also playing well.
Yeah. And then the last thing I have is Paul Skeens still hasn't given up a run in AAA. That's 4 games. He's got a 0 ERA, 27 Ks. Yeah. 27 Ks, 0.71 whip, a 116 batting average against in 4 starts.
I thought I saw a stat. He's only had 1 runner to third base against him.
Is that right?
Like they've only had 1 guy even get to third base against him.
When do the Pirates be like, all right, dude, enough's enough. Like, come up. Are they looking at what Jackson Holiday's kind of doing and being like, whoa, let's not rush this? Or maybe. Is it time for the Pirates to pull them up?
I mean, the Pirates, the Pirates have had a really rough week. Like they've had a really rough 10 days. But it's been a lot of their pitching. Their pitching has not been. Their pitching was so good as they got off that hot start, and then it's really settled down. But who do you put him in place of? Like nobody's pitched so poorly. I think you'd pull him out of the rotation yet, and you're not going to bring Skeens up to put him in the bullpen. So it's like where do you put him? I mean, if they're still struggling like they are in a month, then maybe you have to just bring him up to change things up. But where do you put him? And do you want to rush him?
Yeah.
But I mean, there's no batter in AAA that's going to give him any real fight at the plate with all the pitches he throws and the stuff he has. It's laughable. It's a man amongst boys down there.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think you also do want to see some sort of adversity. You want to see how he can handle some adversity because he's going to come up to the major league level and face adversity. Like you want to see if he can handle that and not kind of fall apart.
Did you guys see the video of the autograph line for him after the game a few nights ago?
Yeah.
It was all the way up the stands and down the concourse. Like the dude is a rock star down at AAA. Like he's a rock star down in the minors.
Very much so. But all right, we're gonna take a break here and do a little MLB trivia, and this is all rookie-based trivia. So I did this because, all these young kids, minus Jackson Holiday, coming up and making a splash and doing really well. I thought I would just kind of trigger it towards some rookies.
Poor Jackson Holiday, for the record.
I think he's just going to figure it out. We'll talk about him in a few minutes here. But
Yep.
All right, here is the first question. Who hit the most home runs in a single season by a rookie, and how many? It happened not that long ago.
Trout?
Nope.
A-Rod?
Not A-Rod.
He wasn't really a power hitter when he came up.
Sooner than A-Rod? Like more recent than A-Rod?
Yes.
Oh.
More recent than Trout.
More recent than Trout.
Mm-hmm. Aaron Judge had the record at 52, but someone beat it after.
Oh, Alonso? No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pete
what?
Alonso, 53.
He hit 53 as a rookie?
Yes, sir.
Jeez.
Wow. Yep.
I was thinking Alonso, but I'm like, I don't remember him having that big a rookie season.
Yep.
Yeah, I would have bet a lot of money that was his second year.
Yeah.
The 53 bombs. All right. Here is
pretty
the
good.
next
That's a pretty good rookie season.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I'll give you a hint. This guy is a Hall of Famer, the answer to this question. So, who has the most RBIs in a single season as a rookie?
Ooh.
Griffey.
No.
Juan
Way
Gonzalez.
before that. Way before that.
Like 70s?
Way earlier.
Jesus.
Oh, good Lord. Tippy Fairbanks from the 1902 Highlanders.
No, this guy's very well known. Probably the best player on this franchise ever.
Ted Williams.
Ted Williams, yes.
Oh, wow.
1939, he had 145 runs batted
Is that good?
as a rookie.
As a rookie. Okay.
Crazy. Who has the longest rookie hitting streak?
Nomar.
No, Nomar's second. He was chasing it. He was really close. I think he got was it 31 or 32?
It was in the low 30s. I thought he had it.
So this player is just like 2 or 3 games above Nomar. He was chasing him. He was really close.
Hall of Famer?
No. But he was a pretty well-known catcher, kind of a journeyman a little bit.
What era? How far back we going?
I would say 90s, late 80s and 90s.
Paul LaDuca?
Nope.
I loved Paul LaDuca.
He was a journeyman catcher.
He totally was. I loved him.
To give you another hint, this guy, when he played for the Marlins, he wore a single number.
Oh, was it
but
CJ?
Instead of the single number, it was 9. He had it made into 09 because he hated how the catcher strap went down and held the number against his back. So he had the number straddling the catcher strap in the back.
I have no idea.
You'll know the name.
Yeah. It was before CJ. It was did it start with an E?
No.
No, that wasn't Encarnacion. I'm trying to think of the guy's name.
The answer is Benito Santiago.
Oh, really? It was Benito?
Oh.
Yeah. 34 games. 34 games in 87. Yep.
He was absolutely not on my radar.
All right. Who was the youngest player to hit a home run in a World Series game? Happened in 96.
Andrew Jones?
Andrew Jones. 19 years old.
19 years old.
Couldn't buy a beer, but he hit a bomb in the World Series.
Yep. All right. I think you guys could get this one too. Who has the most hits in a single season by a rookie?
Ichiro.
I was just going to say, it's got to be Ichiro, right?
Yeah, that's an easy one. 242 hits in 2001.
That doesn't suck.
So kind of goes into this one, so you'll obviously get one of these answers. Which 2 players achieved Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same year? 2 players have done it.
Rookie of the Year and League MVP.
Yes.
So Ichiro.
Yep, Ichiro's one. The other one is a 70s Red Sox player.
Freddie Lynn?
Freddie Lynn.
Nice.
Yep. You said Red Sox. I'm like, oh, right. I remember now.
Yeah. Ichiro and Fred Lynn. So those were my rookie trivia questions.
Fred Lynn was so good.
Yeah, he has another one of my favorite trivia questions. It's really cool, but I'll share it some other time because it's like cross sports, but it's gotcha. A cool one. All right, we'll head home here and we'll discuss a couple other things here to end the show. The Chicago White Sox have been shut out 7 times already at this point of the season. I only tuned into them when they were playing the Royals. Was it last week or the week before? They're outside of Garrett Crochet, who is disgusting right now. The White Sox have nobody.
They're losing 6-0 in the 5th again tonight. If it's worth mentioning,
I mean, it's really bad at this point, and I don't know where they go from here. To be honest, we've been saying the last couple of years that this organization's in shambles, and it's now coming out onto the field, and it's real bad. Do they try to trade some pieces at the deadline to just get them out? Luis Roberts, Moncada,
Eli.
Yeah. Do they do that? Do teams make bids for them?
Well, team will make a bid. I'm not giving up much.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to offer you nothing.
Yeah.
It's, as much as we rag on the Athletics, who actually are not playing poorly, the White Sox are, that's like, we're talking historically bad. I mean, this is a team that scored, was it 45 runs so far this year? I mean, it is like they're literally on pace to set like every record for being horrendous. Yeah. They're 3-18. They've scored 45 runs. They're minus 71.
They're like, minus 71 already.
Minus 71 already. They're on pace to set every record for sucking that's like ever been made. I don't, it's, I mean, I wish this was like, European soccer, you like demote them to like AAA and bring another team up, because they're atrocious. There's no talent. There's no depth. The minor leagues are in shambles too. And this poor manager Gafals has been given basically this like shadow team, and they're terrible. I mean, there's nobody there, no talent. There's nobody coming to help them from the minor leagues. They could be like this for years unless they're going to go out and spend some money, because they are a joke.
Yeah. Let's pivot to the Oakland A's real quick, because that team really, Ryan Langoliers had a 3-homer game last week.
Shea.
Huh?
Isn't it Shea Langoliers?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
What did I say?
You said Ryan. I want to make sure it was the same guy.
No, it is Shea. Was there a Ryan Langoliers?
I don't
either
know.
Way, whatever.
It flows. That name
sounded
flows.
good. Yeah, I was going to agree and say yeah.
Okay. Either way, 3-home run game. JP Sears has been pitching the lights out. I saw his one hitter. Yeah. Well, he had a no-hitter going into the 7th against the Rangers. I was at that game. The kid's lights out.
He looked great today too. He was great today.
Yeah.
Yep. And I got to see Mason Miller. If you have not seen this kid pitch yet, I posted it on our Facebook page. This kid throws absolute cheddar, and it looks effortless.
And it moves too.
I mean, it's 103, 102, 101. It's gross.
Yeah, he has 20 Ks in 10 innings. Just out of the bullpen.
He made Volpe, Soto, and Judge literally just go, like, they were just like, yeah, we're all set with that. We'll go back to the dugout.
Did you see Soto look at him after he swung and missed and kind of like shake his head and walk back to the dugout talking to himself? It was like, even Soto was like, what just happened?
Yeah. I've never seen Juan Soto do that in my life. Like, he's such a confident hitter, and he was just like, what?
Yeah, what? What just happened?
I mean, gross. I don't know what to think about this A's team, but I'm finding myself like checking in on them.
Oh yeah,
like they were close to first place last week. Like, they had a shot to get to first place last week.
They're only 3 games back. I mean, granted, the West is not, the Rangers are 12-11, so it's a low bar right now, but they're only 3 games back, and yeah, they're still a minus 35 run differential because they've given up a bunch of runs, but they've got a few players that are worth watching.
Yeah.
And they've shut out the Rangers, they shut out the Yankees, like, they've got some guys that will surprise you.
Yeah, we were talking about Aaron Boone's press conference after he got tossed today, and he actually gave the A's like some praise, and he was like, the way JP Sears has been pitching the last 3 starts, like we looked at that and we still couldn't touch him, and then he was like Mason Miller, he's like they got some weapons in that bullpen that and it's not just Mason Miller, they got a couple guys in there that throw hard and have nasty stuff.
Yeah,
Mason Miller's soon going to be one of those like intimidation factors, though.
Yep.
Like even when he doesn't have his best stuff on a given night, like just his presence on the mound, he's a big kid, live arm, gas that moves. Like even when he doesn't have his best stuff, like it can't be a comfortable at bat because it's like, this guy's just so damn good.
I can't even imagine what 103 looks like in the batter's box. I really can't. Let alone trying to catch it back there. Like umpire's just like, dude, please just don't miss this.
I just hope it doesn't hit me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those. Close your eyes and swing. Just hope it doesn't hit you.
Goodness gracious.
But on another note, looking in the AL West, we keep saying the Astros are going to recover and they're going to turn it around. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They are getting worse, I think. Like this is a team that's still on the top. You look at Vegas odds; they're still in the top 5 to win the World Series, and they're 7-16 with a minus 28 run differential, and they are 3-7 in their last 10.
They can't pitch.
They can't pitch at all. They can't get anybody out.
Well, you have 2 of your top starters out. I don't know when they're coming back, but Valdez and Garcia. I looked on the fantasy waiver wire today at pitchers, and the top 70 guys it says IL.
Injured. Right. Yeah.
They're all hurt.
I'm just like, goodness gracious. It's like, I guess I'm not picking anybody up today. But I mean, that's across the league, but the Astros are definitely feeling it.
They are.
In the starting staff for sure.
They're getting lit up night after night.
Absolutely crazy. All right. Let's get into the whole Jackson Holiday thing here. When I wrote this into my notes at the time, Jackson Holiday was 1 for 30. To start, what do the Orioles do here? Do they kind of keep him up until he figures it out? Or is there a point where they're like, hey, kid, like, I know you're destroying the minors, but here's some things that we're seeing, like, go down and work on those. Like, at what point, or if any point, do the Orioles send him back down?
I mean, I think it depends. It's a person by person basis. I mean, if they think if he's losing confidence, then I mean, you got to send him down. I mean, this is a kid that's got to play with confidence. If he's coming in like frustrated as all hell at the end of every game, and he's just grinding his way in the cage every night, before every game, in between innings, like whatever. I mean, if he's grinding his way through this and he can't come out of it, then I don't think you have a choice. I think you got to send him down and let him get some confidence back and give him a couple of things to work on and, maybe kind of boost him up a little bit. But I mean, if he's got confidence, I mean, he can play. He's a ball player.
Absolutely.
He can play. I mean, and slumps are going to happen. And we talked about this last year when he was tearing through every level of minor league baseball. It's like, he's going to get to a point, whether it's AAA, Major League Baseball, like he's going to get to a point where he has some serious struggles in like, how does he come out of it? If he's walking around and he's confident and they still have confidence in him, I'm sure, then maybe you just let him kind of ride it out. You give him a few off days, maybe get him in a bat or two off the bench coming in late in the game, see if that can snap him out of it. I don't know. I mean, it's all kind of I would certainly think it's a feel based on the player. Like, I don't think you look at it and go, okay, well, if he goes 1 for 40, he's going down.
Yeah.
Right.
The at-bats don't look all that competitive though. And I think that would be what concerns me a little bit. Like, I don't know if he's just up there guessing and he's wrong, or he's not seeing it, or he's not timing it up, or a combination of all of it. Like, I don't know. They just don't look all that competitive.
Yeah. I mean, and baseball's funny because he could literally get a bloop single that he just absolutely gets sawed off on, and then the floodgates open and he goes on 28 for 30 tear. Like
Bat guy's a hero.
Like right.
Yeah, Bat guy's a hero, and all of a sudden he's right back on the horse.
Yeah.
That's the game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It is hard because, like, if he does have a confidence issue and then you send him to AAA on top of that, like, what does that do? But
I don't think that's not that. I mean, I think if he has a confidence issue, he knows he has a confidence issue. I would think he would want to get down there and be like, okay, like, I want to go where I feel comfortable so I can get back on this horse.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, who knows? I obviously don't know the kid, but you would think that if internally have a confidence problem. It's like, dude, send me to where I know I'm going to do well. I need the confidence back.
Right.
You know,
Do you
I think it's more of a confidence hit if he's like, no, I can figure this out. I feel comfortable up here. And it's like, we don't have confidence in you, so we're sending you down.
Yeah.
That might be a bit of an issue.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think it's a couple things. He's got a ton of pressure on him, right? I mean, like he just got drafted last year. I mean, there's a ton of pressure there, and the pressure from his teammates. I mean, you look at this Orioles roster and how young they are, and they're all performing. I mean, Colton Cowser is ridiculous right now, and there's a lot of young kids that are succeeding, and he's kind of not. So, like, we have a bar that we're like measuring him to, and he's not there. I think that's also kind of adds to the pressure a little bit.
Yeah, I think you look at Jackson Holiday and agree with what you guys were saying. You know, his at bats don't look super competitive right now. He looks like he's over his head, but he's also 20 years old. He's got 16 Ks and 30 at bats. Like he's not making a lot of contact. He's kind of feeling his way around up there. But at the same time, this is a kid who's got just over 700 career minor league plate appearances. He's barely played a full season of minor league baseball when you kind of add it all up. So, yeah, he's still green. He's really green. But I think for the Orioles, unless you've got a really good, better option, you let the kid figure it out. Because if you haul him up here, give him 30 at bats, and send him down, you're going to mess with his confidence. You're going to mess with him because 30 at bats isn't even a big enough sample set to figure out where the kid's at. I mean, you're talking 30 at bats. That's a week. You know, that's you've given the kid effectively, you know, a week's worth of work, the plate appearances to figure things out. Have they looked good? No. But to Sean's point, you know, he gets a blooper tomorrow night, and all of a sudden he rips off he goes 8 for 10 over a weekend, and he's right back in it. So I think you have to let the kid work it out. He's not hurting you right now because your team's fine. I think you got to give him some space. If he's still here in 2 weeks, you may need to sit him down and be like, look, you know, here's where we're at. We gotta figure something out. But you know, after 30 plate appearances, I wouldn't push the panic button just yet because he's still very green. But he's gotta show you more in the batting in the box to feel comfortable leaving him in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. They just got another holiday coming up the pipeline in a couple of years, so whatever.
And yeah, I mean, I think if you're him and you're looking around at Rushman and Cowser and just loaded team of guys that aren't that much older than you that are all tearing the cover off the ball, it's got to be a little humbling to look around and be like, what are these guys doing that I'm not? But I think he's proven he'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I think over the course of this, whether you send him up or send him down or keep him up here, I think over the course of it, it's like, okay, with non-competitive at-bats, it looks like you're struggling against fastball, you're struggling against breaking ball, you're struggling against ahead in counts, behind in counts. Like they just don't look all that great. Like it might be something as simple as like, hey, listen, you're going to get a steady diet of breaking balls. We understand this. Hit the fastball, right? Like when you get a fastball, hit the fastball, and then we'll work on this stuff. I mean, this is not like a contract year for him. I mean, this guy is a Baltimore Oriole for a very long time. There is no rush here.
Yep.
So, you know, maybe it's just something as simple as that, just settling him down. Just, hey, take it one pitch at a time. Hit your fastballs. Like fastballs that come in that are strikes, take it the other way. We don't need you to get up here and start jacking home runs. You see a fastball in the zone, take it where it's pitched. Get yourself kind of the confidence, get yourself on base, get a few hits.
Yep.
You know, it'll come. I mean, the kid can play. He can hit.
Yeah. After 30 at bats, I would not ring the alarm, but I would definitely, you know, this would be a good time for some of the veterans, you know, for the few veterans that are there, you know, to help the kid, boost him up a little bit, give him some pointers, you know, take him under their wing and let him figure it out because he's proven at every level he'll figure it out. You just got to give him some time. And 30 at bats, I just don't think is enough time for him to really settle in yet. Because the other piece of it too is AAA pitching might be good. It is not near what you're going to see at the major league level. Like that next step up is a big step up. You know, think of all the guys that make it AAA and never make it beyond there. Like that is a big step. You know, AA to AAA is not as big a step as AAA to the major leagues.
Sure.
But I think the kid will be okay. You just got to give him time.
Yeah.
And you got to keep giving him at bats. Let him get out there and figure it out.
Yeah.
Explain to me. I'm sorry, guys. The Bruins, they just called it like matching penalties. It looks like. So it looks like they called Toronto for holding. And then they called Boston for too many men on the ice. but the holding penalty was the Toronto guy stopping the Boston guy from getting off the ice. So how can that be? If he's holding him on the ice
Right.
when he's trying to get off, how can you call them for too many men on the ice? That's crazy.
You're just a homer.
That's
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. So the two guys that are involved in the play both get called. They both go to the bench. Both go to the sin bin. What do you accomplish?
4-4.
I have no problem with matching minors.
It's just
how
dumb.
can you call too many
Right.
men when the guy was being held on the ice
Right.
and not allowed to get off?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
It's dumb.
Well, technically,
sorry,
there were
derailed.
too many men on the ice, even if he's held there or
Technically,
not.
there were.
So,
That's true. Technically, there were.
all right, kind of a cool thing that happened in MLB last week, which is no longer because Jack Leiter got sent down, but Al Leiter and Mark Leiter are the first brothers in Major League history to have both sons currently in the MLB at the same time. So Mark Leiter Jr. is a relief pitcher for the Cubs. Jack Leiter came up and made a start for the Rangers last week. So just kind of a cool little thing that, like we've had a lot of family members in MLB, brothers, father, son, stuff like that. But first time to have brothers have sons playing at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool. And then the last thing that I'm going to ask you guys, I already know the answer to it. But after Friday's Diamondbacks shellacking of the Giants, 17-1, should MLB implement a mercy rule?
Nope.
No, I mean, it is. Is a 17-1 game good for baseball? No. Is it good for the bullpens and all that? No. But these are grown men. Like if you're gonna get your head kicked in, you got to take it, and you got to get your way out of it.
I'm fine with getting your head kicked in. I'm thinking more of the uptake in injuries, and all of that, saving some innings from these pitchers who, like some of these teams are scraping the bottom of the barrel here to get guys on the mound. To save some of these arms, would a mercy rule help that? Or does it not happen often enough for them to really worry about it?
Well, I mean, they just changed the game to 7 innings. I mean, that'll solve that problem.
That's probably coming in the new
just
CBA.
take it from 9 innings, make it a 7-inning game. I mean, that'll solve your innings problem.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess to me, it's just like, well, where do we we're just going to fundamentally change the game because we have teams that stink and can't get guys out. I mean, that's pretty.
We're going to call this the White Sox rule.
That's what I don't like. It's like that's not the game. That's not the game. The game is you have to get 3 outs and then you get to come off the field. You don't get to come off the field because you gave up too many runs because you stink so bad. Like that's not how that works. You got to get guys out.
Yeah. It's like T-ball after the whole. Yeah, after the whole lineup hits through, okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like in T-ball. Yeah, right. Everyone gets an up every inning.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just you're changing the way the game is, and I mean that's kind of what fair. I don't like. But I don't want to say I wouldn't be shocked if they do it, but I mean I see the logic on that side of it with the up.
It's
overloading of innings
and I wouldn't want them to call it before the 7th. I'm not looking at like a slow pitch softball, like, oh, you're up by 17 after the 3rd. Like that's the game, go home. Like, no. Like you got to get through 7.5, right?
I mean,
if it's 17-1 at 7.5, and it's like, okay,
but I would say before they do any of those things, I would like to see the things we talked about last week, like expanding rosters.
Yeah.
Why don't you have a designated we're getting pumped innings eater guy or 2 that never sees the field, never sees the mound unless you're down by a trillion. I'll do that. Dude, I'll do that for the Red Sox.
Well, that's where a guy like Rich Hill would be super valuable. Are you
kidding me? Never have to face an inning where it matters. Yeah, dude, sign me up.
Right.
Let's do that before we start giving mercy rules and stuff like that. You got to get guys out. I mean, that's baseball. You got to get guys out.
I mean, I agree with that. I was kind of just saying this just more tongue in cheek because a mercy rule would never happen. It's not coming. But I mean, it was just to a certain point. They got to fix the injuries, and that was most of the reason why I asked the question was because.
Sure.
I mean, this uptake in injuries is crazy. And if you could save some bullpen arms in a game like that, I don't want to go to, a top bullpen guy to just get me 3 outs, losing by 16. And I know they've put in the rules for like players, position players can pitch and stuff like that, but it's not early enough for me. Like if you're getting beat 17-1 in the fifth, like bring in your bench guy. You know, like I don't want to burn my bullpen down by 16 or up by 16 for that matter. But I don't know.
At one point I'd heard somebody make the comment of they should institute a rule where if you are down by more than 10 runs, you know, after the seventh inning, that the manager has the ability to just kind of say, we're done, no more, and kind of call it. And they had kind of presented that under the kind of guise of player safety. If the manager feels like I don't want to waste arms on this nonsense, I don't want to put guys out there that don't have to put out there, I want to put position guys out there, I should be able to say we're done and just call it. I'm like, well, but like, what's the penalty for doing that? Like, why, you know, so say it's, you know, you're getting late in the season, you're just like, screw it. Like, I'm going to protect my guys for the playoff run. Like, there's got to be something to that. If you're just going to be like, yeah, we're all set, we're just going to walk it off. You know, what's the offset to that? There's got to be some kind of a penalty to allow you to actually just like shut a game down.
If I was a general manager and I hired a manager who was like totally okay with just giving up games, I'd be like, you're not my manager.
Right.
Like I recognize that there are games you're not going to come back in. But like, where's the goddamn fight? Like, where's the belief? Like, if you as the guy that's leading that team has no belief that like when we're down a handful of runs, we can't come back. What are you showing the guys in the clubhouse? Like, what message are you saying to these guys? We don't think you're good enough to come back. I am so glad that never made it out of the.
Well, I think they said it had to be like if you were down by like at least 10, like it was far enough away to like you were unlikely to come back. But still,
I hear it.
I think
but
the
like,
idea of a manager like throwing the towel in, it's like, I don't know.
Like, who wants that?
That seems crappy.
Yeah. I don't know. It was
could you like in the old Roman times, you know, thumbs down. You know, the fans give it the thumbs down, they shut the game down.
Yeah, right. If half the fans put the thumbs down, if we have like a majority of the fans, then the game's over.
Yeah.
That's better. I like
fan voting up on the scoreboard.
That would only take a 2 out of 3 vote for the Athletics.
We let the fans vote for the All-Star game. The fans vote for the All-Star game. Let's let them vote for more shit.
Yeah. Right.
Pull, you know, give everybody a little clicker. It can be on the back of the seat, and in the seventh inning, if we're down by more than 10, pull the fans. We're gonna keep playing.
The umpires are so bad, the whole crowd is the ump. So after every pitch, the fans vote on whether it's a strike or it's a ball.
Might as well just do that now.
I mean, hell, if you're the White Sox, you should let the fans make all your decisions.
Yeah.
Do we go to the bullpen here? Vote.
Yeah. Crazy. It is interesting though. Like Nathaniel Lowe was, you know, on field mic on Sunday Night Baseball yesterday, and he was they were talking about his Gold Glove that he won, and how it meant more because it was voted on by the on-field guys, representatives,
of course,
and not by the fans. Like, you never really understand how much more of an impact that makes on the players than, you know, like getting selected to an all-star game as a fan vote. Like, because then it is popularity, right? It's not about your ability at that point.
That's why I've said I really don't want to beat this dead horse right now, an hour and a half into this. But that's why we've been saying it about the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame should be voted on by the people you played with, played against, coached for, coached against. That's who should be voted, because it is not a popularity contest.
Right.
It isn't, and it has turned into that. Like, that's the craziest part for me. The Hall of Fame should be 100% voted on by a panel of current, former players, current, former managers, coaches, general managers, like the people that are involved in the day-to-day, that were with you every day, played against you, coached against you. That should be who decides who gets in the Hall of
Fame. 1000%. I'm with you. But yeah. All right. That was all I had tonight. Do you guys have anything to add?
I got a few small things for you.
Bring it.
Well, I guess not a small thing, but the news came out the other day. Dave McCarty, 11-year MLB veteran and member of the Red Sox championship team, died at the age of 54. The Red Sox are planning on doing something maybe to remember him here in the near future as details or as things come out for his family. But Dave McCarty, whose last 3 seasons were spent with the Red Sox, passed away.
And the Red Sox nation loved this dude.
Loved this guy.
Loved him.
Yeah, dude, he was the position player pitcher before that became like a normal thing.
He was a jack of all
Like,
trades. He went
he
wherever
was
he
the guy
needed.
that would come in like when the Sox were getting shellacked. Like
Yeah.
McCarty would come in on the mound and give you like 2 innings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in with the Red Sox, he actually made 3 pitching appearances in the time he was there.
I'm
So-
surprised it's not more. I'll
Right.
be
Yeah.
honest with you. I'm surprised
Exactly.
it's not more.
20. He made 25 starts at first base, 6th in the outfield, made 3 pitching appearances, and came off the bench and went everywhere all over the field. Kind of the super utility guy. But yeah, he would pitch 3 times in 3 years. Another one for you, Nick. Your favorite guy, Trevor Bauer. Your favorite guy yesterday down in the Mexican League. He set a number of records. He had 14 strikeouts in 5 innings. He had 9 consecutive Ks. He threw 12 strikes in a row and struck out all 3 batters with 9 pitches in a single inning. So the immaculate inning. So again, he's back on his Major League Baseball tour, trying to convince teams he can still pitch.
Dude, this guy could be the next Bob Gibson. He's not getting back in Major League Baseball. So like, stop.
And right, and I think
He just
that's-
keeps going though. I love it.
So
He
I
won't
think
quit.
I think that's what's kind of hurting him at this point. The more he keeps pushing and pushing and pushing, the more teams are going to be like, no, I said no. Like if he gives it up and just lets his play talk, there might possibly a slim chance that a team would be like, all right, like we are desperate, Houston Astros,
Chicago White Sox,
to get this guy in here to make a difference. But they don't want this show.
Well, I think that's like the irony. They're like pointing to everything he's doing right now. They're like, yeah, that, like, we don't want that. It's like, stop doing that. Like,
Just
show
go
us
play.
show us that you can pitch without all of that, and like then maybe we can have a conversation down the line.
Right.
Yeah.
But so I figured you'd appreciate that. The guy is he just continues to stay on his tour. And another one, so Remus Sports, who currently represents Ronald Acuna Jr. For marketing only, they are trying to become an agency to actually represent players. This was started by Bad Bunny and Bad Bunny's manager. They started it to player representation. They had a restraining order put against them by MLB when they found a restraining order and a $400,000 fine when they found that they were actually using cash to entice players to sign with them. Acuna wasn't one of them. So that MLBPA and MLB put a restraining order on them. They appealed. They lost. So now you've got a number of players who were hoping to be represented by them who won't be anymore, including Francisco Alvarez, Ezequiel Tovar, Santiago Espinal, Ronald Acuna Jr., who now cannot get representation from this group and have to go find new agents.
For marketing purposes.
Well, they're only doing marketing for Acuna because they can't represent him because of the restraining order. So all these players they brought to the major leagues, that group of players, they now can't represent them ever, period.
Huh.
So
because they were bribing them with money?
Because they were using money and gifts to bribe them to change agencies. Which is like rule number 5 of agency with MLB. You cannot use any sort of cash or other incentive to entice them to change agencies. There's no way that doesn't happen, for the record.
That's the agent game, baby.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
There's no way that doesn't happen. I mean, unless you're like showing up with like a duffel bag of cash on their front steps, like these guys get wined and dined and taken anywhere they want. That's the deal.
I guess I don't understand why that's illegal. Like if one company is going to offer me money to change agencies, like if I had a school system come to me like, hey, dude, like we're going to pay you a $2,500 signing bonus and give you a 20% raise to come to the school. My notice is in yesterday.
Well, yeah.
Like,
so the issue with agency is
that
the issue with agency is that you're not actually the employer. You are negotiating their employment. So by offering them an incentive, you're not getting them a better deal from their employer. You're offering them an incentive just to switch to you to go negotiate the same thing. So the laws of agency would say you have a fiduciary responsibility to negotiate on their behalf and get them the best deal, but you can't buy their loyalty because you're not the employer. You're not the one that's actually paying them.
Right.
So that's where it falls down. Like if the Red Sox offered you a better deal than the Yankees, that's one thing. But if your agent buys your buys you as a client to then go negotiate with those teams on your behalf. It's not the same thing. But so these guys all were discovered by this Assad guy, brought to the major leagues, and now will never be represented by him because they've lost yet again because they were caught bribing players to change agencies.
Interesting.
So maybe Scott Boras can find some new clients if he loses more of them.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
He'll scoop some of those guys out.
He sure will.
Crazy. All right. Anything else before we wrap it up for the week?
That's it. Go watch some baseball.
All right. Before you go, please make sure that you follow and like us on Facebook. You can also follow us on Instagram. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Share our reels, comment on our reels. Instagram's really blown up for us this last week. So just keep coming to support, guys. It's really appreciated. And we have a good week of baseball coming up, and we will be back next Monday at 8 p.m.